Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte announces she tested positive for COVID-19. Belmonte says she has no symptoms so far. She says she expected to get the virus given her work for the city has required her to go to health centers, hospitals, and areas under special concern lockdown. Belmonte says she hopes her condition serves as a warning to others about the infectiousness of the disease. She notes she strictly abided by health protocols and still got the virus. Quezon City, the largest in Metro Manila, also continues to have the highest number of coronavirus cases. As of Tuesday, it reached 3,793. The death toll in the city is at 247. Meanwhile, journalist Howie Severino is detained by Quezon City law enforcers for lowering his face mask to drink water. In a Facebook post, Severino says he biked with two companions until they took a break at a bike shop along Mother Ignacia Avenue. Severino says at least 3 vehicles of QC law enforcers arrived to tell him he was talking without a mask covering his mouth. Severino is brought to the Amoranto Stadium for a seminar on the coronavirus. He notes there are hundreds of people rounded up in the stadium, which goes against expert advice discouraging mass gatherings. Severino has been infected with the virus and has already recovered. In Brazil, President Jair Bolsonaro announces he tested positive for the coronavirus. Bolsonaro says he's feeling perfectly well and had only mild symptoms. He adds he's taking hydrochloroquine. Bolsonaro then takes off his face mask to emphasize the point in front of journalists. Since the beginning of the virus outbreak, Bolsonaro dismissed the threat, calling it a little flu. He flouted social distancing rules and containment measures, such as wearing a mask in public. Brazil is the second worst hit country in the world by the pandemic after the United States. Meanwhile, in the US President Donald Trump lashes out at Harvard University for its decision to move all its courses online. Trump calls the move ridiculous. Trump has been pushing for the reopening of the United States even as virus infections continue to spike. In a late-night speech supposed to be focused on the coronavirus pandemic, President Rodrigo Duterte again threatens journalist and Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Duterte calls Ressa a fraud, saying it's too early for her to enjoy her journalism awards.
Si Ressa is a fraud. Maniwala kayo. Well, give us time. Too early for you to enjoy yung mga award mo. You are a fraud. Actually. We are just compiling at this stage. And someday in bold letters, we will show your incongruity.
Before he mentioned Ressa by name, he slammed what he calls bright girls. Ressa was convicted for cyber libel stemming from a complaint filed by businessman Wilfredo Keng. Malacanang repeatedly denied involvement in the cyber libel case. Duterte also says if an article about him is well written but puts him in a bad light, he won't read it.
Kaya yan, kung magbasa ka, kaya ako nakabasa ng mahusay magsulat. Para sa akin, bugok ka. Di ako nakabasa. I do not read yung sa briefer nito meron sa article about mga Rappler. Skip ko yan.
In the same address, Duterte also says communist rebels are terrorists because he declared so.
They are terrorists because I finally declared them to be one. Why? Because I spent most of my days as president trying to figure out and connect with them on how we can arrive at a peaceful solution.
Duterte began his term in 2016 on friendly terms with the Communist Party of the Philippines and other leftist organizations. His administration attempted peace negotiations with the CPP's political arm, the National Democratic Front, but talks bogged down in November 2017.
And it was a good rapport while it lasted. Yung na-presidente na ako, no, iba na lang ang istorya. Simply because in the ladder of priority, the highest sa akin would be the security of the state. Pero noong panahon ng politika, boto yan eh, bilangan ng boto.
The government has a pending court petition to brand the CPP-NPA-NDF as a terrorist organization. The military already refers to it as a communist terrorist group in its press releases. Senator Ronald De La Rosa may soon have an American visa again. This comes months after President Rodrigo Duterte scolded and later terminated the Philippines' Visiting Forces Agreement or VFA with the United States for canceling it. De La Rosa's visa was cancelled in January. It is widely seen as an effect of the Global Magnitsky Act, which cancels the visa of Philippine officials linked to the detention of opposition Senator Laila de Lima and alleged extrajudicial killings or EJKs under his drug campaign. In an interview with ABS-CBN News on Wednesday, July 8, De La Rosa says the United States Embassy in Manila called him and offered to facilitate his visa after Duterte and US President Donald Trump spoke over the phone in April. De La Rosa, a staunch Duterte ally, was the president's first police chief and is known as the architect of the administration's controversial and bloody drug war. The mother of the 15-year-old girl shot dead in Ilocos Sur is asking for financial help so she can return home from Kuwait and attend her daughter's burial. The mother, who is working in Kuwait, says her employers allowed her to attend her daughter's burial, but they will not pay for her trip back home. She directs her plea to the government and to Ilocos Sur Governor Ryan Singson. The daughter was killed by riding in tandem gunmen after she filed a molestation complaint against one of the two suspects. The two policemen arrested the girl and her cousin after they were caught violating the province-wide curfew in late June. The two law enforcers were detained on July 5. Investigators are also looking into accusations that the two were the same masked men who shot the minor. The police chiefs of both San Juan and Cabugao towns were also relieved on Monday. More tech companies pull out of Hong Kong in light of its new security law. Creators of popular video sharing app TikTok say it will no longer work in Hong Kong. TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, is already in the spotlight over how it collects and uses data. Tech giant Microsoft and video conferencing app Zoom also say they are putting on hold data requests by officials or police in Hong Kong. This comes after internet giants Google, Facebook, and Twitter put a hold on requests for user data from Hong Kong authorities. Beijing says it imposed the new law on Hong Kong to end pro-democracy protests. It grants the police powers to control and remove online information if there are reasonable grounds to suspect the content breaches the national security law. Internet firms and service providers can be ordered to remove information and their equipment can be seized. On Monday, July 6, protesters assembled at the shopping mall carrying sheets of blank paper. 8 were detained for unlawful assembly and for obstructing officers. A video claiming the Philippine economy got worse after the People Power Revolution is false. On June 1, Facebook page Filipino Future posts a video with the title "The Philippines Fell When They Ousted Marcos." The video claims the Philippines became the Asian tiger economy under the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos, but became worse after he was ousted in 1986. The video mentions President Rodrigo Duterte too, and how he is following Marcos's example in abolishing the oligarchy in the Philippines. While it is true the Philippine economy was on the rise at the start of the Marcos administration, gross domestic product and GDP per capita data, two universal indicators of a nation's prosperity, show that the Philippine economy was already falling before 1986. From a record high of 8.9% in 1973, the economic growth rate also plunged to a record low of -7.3% in the last 2 years of the Marcos administration. Economists say the decline in the country's economy during the latter part of Marcos's administration caused the Philippines to lose 2 decades of development. This economic setback also led to the Philippines becoming the sick man of Asia. The video has over 90,000 views and is still being shared as of July 6.